Hello everybody. In this video we are going to learn about variables. Variables are just the boxes with data, or you can say the containers containing a data. So for understanding the variables, we just take an example of an RPG game. So in RPG game you have a health system, and you have a player health, you have a speed of the player, you have also some inventory system, and these all things are not initially recognized by our computer system. Computer don't know that what is the speed for your player, so that things we will assign by the variables. So we have tell the computer that this much speed we need for our player, or this much inventory, or this inventory we need for our player. So that things are variables, and in variables we will store the data. So for basic variables there are some certain things which you should know, that there is name should be assigned, to any variable for recognizing that variable. Okay, the another thing for variable is that it can be private or public variables. And the difference between private and public is that private variable is initiated within this script and can be accessible within that internal script, and the public variables are available to all the users, and that can all users can manipulate that public variable within the Unity editor as well. So we will take example in this section about private and public variables. The another thing which we need for variables is the value. So value is actually the optional thing which we need, and we can assign any value to any variable initially or later on as well. So now the another thing that we will learn about variables, that the data types. So data types are quite similar to another languages as well. So the first data type is string. So strings are used for names and the sentences, contents, etc. We can use the strings. For example, if there is a variable with your name, you can add a data type string to that variable. Also we have int variable. So int are integers, so 0, 1, 2, 3 up to so on, that are integers. Then we have a variable of float, and floats are also a type of integers, but floats are decimal numbers, so we can use 1.02 like this, but in integers we will use only the main common numbers like this. Okay, so we can use float for decimal integers, and then we have one another type which is called bool, and bool data type is used for true and false. So these are the basic things about the variables, and then let's create something here for understanding purpose. Let's suppose we are going to add a variable with a string. So let's create that variable, public or private we can also use. So we will add public so that we can analyze that in editor as well. So we will name before name we will say it string, and then we will name that variable. So for example my name. Okay, so this is one style of adding the variables, that the first letter is smaller and the second starting word, the first letter of second starting word should be bigger. Okay, so this is a style. You can add variable like this as well, but this is some professional style. So we will this is our string. Okay, we have assigned the string my name, so we can also assign a value to this string. So we will add equal to, and strings always written in inverted commas, so we can add some name, for example Ali. Okay, so let's save the script and we will move to our Unity editor. See now that we have a name of Ali, and we can manipulate this name here. Okay, and we can name it Babar or anything else, because this is a public variable and we can manipulate this variable inside Unity editor. So if we make it private, then it will not be available in Unity editor because it's private now. So let's save the script and then we will move to our Unity editor, and after compiling script, this field will no longer available. So let's see. Sorry for delay. Unity, this Unity version is sometime become too much slow. So okay, so now you can see that player movement have no my name field. Okay, so like this we can assign different variables. So now we will make it public for time, and the another variable we want to assign is up one more variable we will assign is public integer my age, and we will initiate a value for this, and let's suppose 30, and one another field we can add here is public string my name, and one more string we need for my city. And we will assign a city to Islamabad, for example. Okay, and that's great. Now these variables are available in text editor as well, Unity editor as well. So now what we want to show these variables, so we can show them on UI, and in this case, in this video, we will show these variables inside debug section. Okay, console section. So for that purpose we will say debug.log, and then we will assign that variable. So for example, we want to show my name, we will add my name. Okay, so this will show the name to our console, but also we want to head this variable, like we want to indent this with my name. So we will say my name is, okay, because it is a string, so we will add this in these inverted commas, and then we, for indenting, we will add plus sign to this variable my name. Okay, so now it will be visible inside console. So also for the second variable, let's copy this and paste this, and we will say my age is, and then we will say my age and lastly we will add my cities. My city. Okay, so now we have added these debug functions in start function, so these are really available inside Unity on start. Okay, so if we go to console, you can see my name is Babar, my age is 30, my city is Islamabad. So public variables can be changed inside editor as well. So if we change the name to Ali and age to 20 and city to ATD, then what will happen? These results will be manipulated. So okay, so now you can see that my name is Ali, the newer one, my age is 20 and my city is ATD. So last thing about variables is bool. So bools are true or false variables. So if we write public, we can make these private as well, but for understanding public purpose, we will add as a public bool, and then we will say that for example pass, and then we will make the initial value to false. So that person is not passed, that is failed actually. So just save it, and these variables are used for different purposes inside the game. So now you can see one another field is here and initial value of it is false. So we can check this, we can disable this. So inside Unity game, if we want to make certain level to be win or lose, we can script this bool variable. So when the bool is checked, he will win the game, and that is checked on certain conditions. Okay, we have some more variables, and we have some more data types for that variables, and that we will learn here. So for example, we make a public variable game object, and then we can name it, for example player. Okay, so what will happen, that we can select a game object named player to our field, and then we can manipulate this player inside our script. Okay, so similarly we have another variable type like public animator. So these are the animator. These are some types which relates to certain components inside Unity, and we can name it anim or any other name we can assign. Similarly, we have another data type like public transform. Okay, so this data type needed to get some positions of certain objects. So for example, we add my transform or any other transform. So now if we see these variables inside Unity, okay, now you saw that our player movement script contains these new variables, player, anim, and my transform. So for example, we need a player, this is our player, so we can drag drop this player over here, and then we will make certain changes to this variable. Also anim is for animator. So if for example we have certain object with certain animator, or we have animator over here, we can drag drop that here, or we can drag drop the object here. Okay, so this capsule doesn't contain any animator, so this is not, we can't drag this here. Okay, so for example, we add some animator here, animator, and then we select any controller. So for example falling, then what we can do now, we can drag this capsule over here. Okay, so now you can see this is selected, and then we can manipulate this animator as well. So last thing is my transform. We can add this game object in my transform as well, so it will get the positions of this game object. If this object is some another object, we can drag drop that object as well. So for example we want this to the similar transform, then we can also drag drop this transform component over here as well. Okay, so now you can see we have selected these three different data type variables as well. So we want to do something. So in start function we will say that debug dot log, and here we will say my transform dot position dot x. Okay, so it will show the position of x axis of our component, okay, of this player game object. Okay, so now in debug.log you can see 0 because our transform x position is 0. Okay, so in this way we have accesses this variable as well, and you have learned some more data types inside variables. So that's it for variable section. Next video we will move further. Goodbye.